Hello and welcome to the English Listening Podcast. Today, we will practice English with the shadowing technique. Shadowing is one of the best methods to improve your English speaking. When you shadow, you train your ears and your mouth at the same time. You copy the speaker's rhythm, pronunciation, and natural speed. This helps you sound more fluent and more confident. Shadowing also improves listening because you focus deeply on every word. You notice stress, pauses, and intonation. For the best results, repeat the story again and again. First time, just listen and understand the meaning. Second time, repeat slowly after the speaker. Third time, shadow at the same speed. With repetition, your speaking will feel more natural step by step. Now, relax. Take a deep breath. Let's begin. There was a man in Spain named Alonso. He lived in a small village. He was not rich, but he had one great love. He loved books. He especially loved stories about brave knights, knights who fought for justice, knights who protected the weak, knights who traveled the world and did great deeds. Alonso read these books every day. He read them in the morning, he read them in the afternoon, he read them at night. Slowly, his mind changed. He started to believe the stories. He started to think that the world still needed knights. He started to think he could become one. One night, he looked at his old armor. It was dusty and broken, but it was still armor. He touched it and said, "I will become a knight." From that day, Alonso chose a new name. He called himself Don Quixote. He chose an old horse, too. The horse was thin and tired, but Don Quixote gave the horse a proud name. He called the horse Rocinante. Don Quixote also needed a lady to honor. In knight stories, knights fought for a lady. So he thought about a woman from his village. Her name was Aldonza. She was a simple woman. She worked hard. She lived a normal life. But Don Quixote changed her name in his mind. He called her Dulcinea. He imagined her as a noble lady, beautiful and perfect. Now Don Quixote felt ready. He left his village early in the morning. The sun was rising. The road was quiet. Don Quixote rode Rocinante slowly. His armor made sounds with every movement. Clink, clink, clink. He felt proud. He felt brave. But in reality, he looked strange. Soon he arrived at a small building. It was an inn, but Don Quixote thought it was a castle. He said, "A castle! Perfect!" He entered the inn with confidence. The innkeeper looked confused. Don Quixote said, "I am a knight. I need a room in this castle." The innkeeper wanted to laugh, but he also wanted to avoid trouble, so he played along. He said, "Of course, Sir Knight." Don Quixote also asked to be officially made a knight. He believed a knight must have a ceremony. The innkeeper said, "Okay, we will do it tonight." That night, Don Quixote stood in the yard. He watched over his armor like it was a sacred thing. Some men at the inn laughed at him. They touched his armor and made jokes. Don Quixote became angry. He fought them with serious face and strong emotion. The innkeeper quickly finished the ceremony. He tapped Don Quixote lightly and said, "You are a knight now." Don Quixote felt proud. He left the inn the next morning. He continued his journey. On the road, he saw people and animals. He saw fields and hills. He saw farmers working. In Don Quixote's mind, everything was part of an adventure. One day, he saw windmills in the distance, large windmills. Their arms were turning slowly in the wind. Don Quixote stopped. He stared at them. He said, "Look, giants!" Rocinante did not understand, but Don Quixote was serious. He said, "I will fight these giants and save the world." He charged forward. He held his spear. He shouted. He attacked a windmill. But the windmill was not a giant. The windmill arm hit him. He fell hard to the ground. His armor shook. His body hurt. But even then, he did not accept the truth. He said, "A wizard changed the giants into windmills." He stood up slowly. He continued. After some time, Don Quixote realized something. A knight should not travel alone. A knight needs a helper. So he returned to his village and searched for someone. He found a neighbor named Sancho. Sancho was a farmer. He was practical. He liked food and comfort. He liked simple life. Don Quixote said to Sancho, "Come with me. Be my squire." Sancho asked, "What do I get?" Don Quixote answered, "You will get an island. You will be governor." Sancho was surprised, but he liked the idea, so he agreed. Sancho rode a donkey. Don Quixote rode Rocinante. They traveled together. On the road, Don Quixote spoke about honor and bravery. Sancho spoke about hunger and sleep. They were very different, but slowly they became a team. Don Quixote saw the world as a story. Sancho saw the world as reality. Sometimes they argued. Sancho said, "Sir, that is not a monster. That is a normal thing." Don Quixote answered, "You do not understand. This is an adventure." But sometimes Sancho also admired Don Quixote. He thought, "He is strange, but he is kind. He wants justice." One day, they met travelers on the road. Don Quixote thought they were enemies. He tried to protect the weak, but he often misunderstood situations. He created trouble, but he also had a good heart. Another day, they saw a group of prisoners being moved by guards. Don Quixote asked, "Why are these men in chains?" The guards said, "They are criminals." Don Quixote thought, "Everyone deserves freedom." He attacked the guards and freed the prisoners. At first, the prisoners thanked him, but then they ran away. Some even threw stones at him. Don Quixote felt confused. Sancho said, "Sir, you tried to help, but it was dangerous." Don Quixote said, "A knight must follow his heart." They continued their journey. They slept outside under the stars. They ate simple food. They walked long roads. Sometimes they laughed. Sometimes they suffered. People they met often made fun of Don Quixote. Some people played tricks on him. They pretended to be princes or enemies. Don Quixote believed them. Sancho sometimes tried to protect him, but Sancho also got caught in the jokes. Still, Don Quixote never stopped believing in his mission. He believed that kindness and courage matter. One evening, Don Quixote sat by a small fire. He looked at the sky. He said, "Sancho, do you think I am crazy?" Sancho stayed quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Sir, you are different, but you also make people think." Don Quixote smiled. He said, "I want to be remembered as someone who tried to do good." Sancho nodded. He said, "You do try, even when the world laughs." Don Quixote's adventures continued, but over time his body became weaker. He fell many times, he got hurt many times. One day, after another difficult adventure, he returned home. He was tired. He stayed in bed. His friends and family visited him. Sancho sat near him and felt sad. Don Quixote looked at Sancho. His voice was quiet now. He said, "Sancho, maybe I was living in dreams." Sancho said, "Your dreams were beautiful." Don Quixote closed his eyes. He said, "I wanted a world with more justice." Sancho whispered, "And you tried." In the end, Don Quixote was not remembered for winning battles. He was remembered for his courage, for his imagination, for his kind heart. And Sancho was remembered for loyalty, for friendship, for staying by his side. Their journey was strange, but it was human. It was a story about dreams and reality. And it reminds us of something. Even when the world is difficult, hope and kindness still matter. That's the end of today's shadowing story, inspired by Don Quixote. Now, remember, repetition is the key. Listen again and again. Repeat out loud. Copy the rhythm and the pauses. When you shadow regularly, your English improves step by step. Your pronunciation becomes clearer. Your listening becomes stronger. Your speaking becomes more confident and natural. Thank you for listening to the English Listening Podcast. Don't forget to follow for more shadowing stories.